Hi everybody, this is Lara at Elliott Wave Gold and Elliott Wave Stock Market. I'm going to do an extra video for you this week. It's time to update Bitcoin, and I want to show you the process I go through to get data into MotiveWave and how I update a wave count. And it's time to have another look now Bitcoin's making new highs again. So I've gone to Yahoo Finance and I've chosen Bitcoin, and I've chosen my time period. My last update was 25th of March 2021, so I've selected this time period, applied that and downloaded the data. It's in my downloads folder. Let's go over to MotiveWave. This is my Bitcoin daily Elliott Wave count. We have to view these charts on a semi-log scale because Bitcoin's so hugely volatile. The last date here, 26th of March 2021. Okay, file, chart, import data from the top menu, add. It's a CSV file. I like Yahoo Finance because they give me CSV files. Here's Bitcoin. I'm just going to uncheck these. It doesn't matter. Bitcoin's global. I'm just going to leave the defaults here for the time zone, the exchange. And there we go. It's updated the data. Okay, let's go left to right, top to bottom. That's what Bitcoin looks like if you don't have a semi-log scale. Yeah, okay, I'm a geek. I find that funny. Okay, view semi-log scale. That's better. Let's expand this out so that we're using the whole screen. This is my monthly analysis for Bitcoin. Squish it back in a little. How annoying. Just pull this down a little bit. I'm just going to pull this over and pull this arrow up. Yep, it's doing exactly as we expect. I've got a lot of notations on this chart, and I've been using these notations to play around with different calculations, trying to figure out some targets for Bitcoin. This is a really, really tough market to figure out where this bubble is going to reach. And I use that word bubble because it makes the technical definition of a bubble. I've been disparaged for that one, which is extremely odd, but it is what it is. I didn't define what bubbles are. It's a bubble, which is why I've invested in it. Way back when. Okay, weekly chart. I just want to look now at cycle wave 3. These targets, I do not have a lot of confidence in this targets. It could be higher. I don't think it'll be lower. If my targets are wrong, they won't be high enough. I do have one extreme target. It's not there. Yeah, 69 million. I don't know. I think that's probably a bit optimistic. I don't think it's going to go that high, but I wouldn't actually be surprised if it gets into the millions. Many months' time away. Okay. So I've got intermediate 3 and 4 over here. So now we're looking, let's start from the monthly chart. We've got primary wave 1 is a beautiful looking 5-wave structure. It doesn't have good Fibonacci ratios. There's no Fibonacci ratio between primary 3 and primary 5 within this impulse. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Really good looking impulse. I've analysed all the subdivisions of that in my research here, all the way down to the daily chart level. I'll just pull it over and show you what I mean. And down to this. So for cycle 1 and 2, I've done a full wave count of everything right down to the daily chart level. And off it goes off to the left of the chart. So pretty confident that's a really good 5-wave impulse. Perfect alternation between 2 and 4. 4 is a triangle, 2 is a zigzag. These corrections are really deep. On a semi-log scale, this doesn't look very deep, but primary 2 is a 94% correction of primary 1. This meets the definition of a bubble, and it's got that vertical rise. It ends with a blow-off top, huge volume spike, and then price absolutely collapses. A 94% reduction in value is, by any technical definition, that's a bubble that burst, and then the bubble forms again. And that's the thing about bubbles, which I love. You will have smaller bubbles within larger bubbles. They're fractal, just like Elliott wave is fractal. And what that means is, if you can identify a market like this that has the ability to form bubbles, and then you can identify prices crashed and is coming up off lows with strength as it did back in here, you can identify an absolutely amazing investment opportunity, which is what I did back in, I think, over here, and I bought back in over here. So I do find the lows for Bitcoin harder to identify, the highs easier to identify, which means having an exit strategy. It's not easy, but it's something I think I can possibly do again. I can have a reasonable idea anyway. And don't expect to get out perfectly at the eventual high, but I do expect to get out with a very nice profit indeed. So that's why I get so excited about these cryptocurrency charts. From a technical analysis perspective, they offer just a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make a stupid huge amount of money, which I quite like, don't we all? So, okay, there's my monthly chart. So I've got a beautiful impulse for cycle 1, a big deep correction, 84%. I did think it would be over 90%. It didn't get as deep, but I did pick this high 5 days after it happened. That's all documented, publicly available on my website. It's one of the pieces of analysis in my career so far that I am the most proud of. And I am going to try and do it again for the end of cycle 3. So cycle 2 was an 84% drop. Cycle 3, super hard to calculate targets for it. I have given it a go. Here's one target, 223 odd thousand. If that's wrong, it's not going to be high enough. Now we're looking at cycle wave 3. So here's cycle wave 2, that big 84% drop in price. And now within cycle 3, we've got primary 1 lasted 28 weeks, primary 2 lasted 37 weeks, primary 3 may only subdivide as an impulse. So from an Elliott wave perspective, this is getting not easy. Nothing about this is easy, but it's getting less difficult to analyze. I'm going to adjust my acceleration channel. You have to do that as it makes new highs. There's a Fibonacci ratio between intermediate waves 1 and 3. Its intermediate 3 is 2,925.54, less than 4.236 times the length of intermediate 1. That's how to read these notations I've got here. That's because that variation is less than 10%, just less than 10% of the length of intermediate 3. It's my judgment that the difference is small enough to say that they are reasonably close to that, exhibiting that Fibonacci ratio. That's just a judgment I've made, that 10%. Okay, now I'm a little bit concerned about the overlapping nature we've got happening in here though. Oh no, okay, that looks right. Okay, so when impulses for Bitcoin begin, they begin with usually overlapping first and second waves, and again, going back to that research, that's usually what happens. So when I say usually, that's what I mean. I've done that full analysis of the entire price history of Bitcoin, so that's what I'm basing this analysis on when I say that's how Bitcoin normally behaves. Okay, let's update this. Half of my updating is just mucking around with the elements in the chart. Here's another target. I've got another video explaining how I calculated those. I don't know which of, I know they're hugely different, aren't they? Back here, when cycle wave 1 ended, this is the high for Bitcoin in December 2017, just under 20,000. Back here at that high, I was trying to calculate targets as we neared this vertical rise at the end, and Bitcoin blew all my targets away. And so I'm being super open and super flexible with how I approach target calculation at this stage. And I'm just playing with lots of numbers, and I'm going to be looking at the technical aspects of how price behaves toward the end rather than any specific number. That's my exit strategy for this. I'm leaving my invalidation point the same. Well, actually, maybe I can make it closer at the daily chart level. Yeah, So at the weekly chart level, primary 4 eventually will unfold. I'll ride that one out. And it can't move into primary 1 price territory. What about for those of you who are looking more short term, which I'm not going to advise or not advise, you do you, but for me, I am looking long term on this one. Buy and hold, buy low, sell high. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Most people do the opposite. It's actually hard to do because our psychology works against us. Okay, let's change this invalidation point. What have we got here? 50,856.57. That's a little bit more useful, isn't it? So I expect within intermediate wave 5 so far we have minor 1, minor 2, minor 3 may only subdivide as an impulse. We have minute 1 and 2 and minuet 1 and 2. So now I've got 1, 2, 3 overlapping first and second waves. I think Bitcoin may be getting ready to move through the middle of a third wave, which is a fifth wave at intermediate degree within a third wave at primary degree. Let's go back to this research and have a look and see how did Bitcoin behave. And I want to view this so that you get an idea of the price movements. What's this? Yeah, no, I'm sorry, MotiveWave. Sometimes MotiveWave does that. No, a triangle can be one of the subwaves within a triangle. That's in the rules. I don't know why they haven't got some of those rules, but okay. Okay, where were we? So fifth wave within primary 3. So this is back in November 2013, and this high here is $1,232.94, the end of primary 3. Look at how intermediate wave 5 behaves when we take off the semi-log scale. I took that off, didn't I? No, I didn't. Let's take off the semi-log scale and view it on an arithmetic scale, and you can see this long, slow basing action, acceleration through the middle, and explosion at the end. Please do excuse my neighbours. I'm not recording this in my recording room, and my house is open. By which I mean I'm living in the jungle with no windows. It's odd, but that's Boca style. Okay, so that's the local dogs just having a wee moment. It has this vertical rise at the end, and it has this beautiful curved look. This is a really typical look for any chart of any commodity, but Bitcoin is even more excessive. It has this absolutely huge volatility that I have never seen on any other chart, and so I'm looking for that to happen again here. Now let's again take this off a semi-log scale and let's see. I see we're still in the basing action. It doesn't have that vertical rise yet. It had it toward the end of intermediate 3. Look, it's doing it again. Let's expand that out. I'll just pull this up, and so you can see when you take off the semi-log scale, it just keeps doing this basing action, acceleration through the middle, explosion at the end. And it has these sharp highs and these not as sharp lows, but still a reasonable low here. I am expecting to see something like that again for the end of primary wave 3, but even more so. We don't see that yet. I'm expecting acceleration through the middle, fourth wave, explosion at the end. These fourth waves, minuet 4, minute 4 and minor 4, may be relatively brief and shallow. Okay, that's my updated Bitcoin analysis. I'll pop some charts up on the website for members. I probably won't do a write-up because I kind of don't need to after doing this video. I hope you learned something from this video. Because I am personally invested in this market and a bunch of other cryptocurrencies, I will be updating this every 2 or 3 months. Like I said, it's a long-term thing, and I don't want to micro-analyze and over-analyze this because that way leads to too much fear, too much greed. It's easier to manage your emotions if you just keep a cursory look, and when you start to see the situation occurring where it's having that blow off top and the Elliott wave structure is complete, then I'm going to start analysing it nearly on a daily basis toward the end. But not now. I think that's at least a year, if not more, away. Okay, thanks for listening.